Happy Sunday, everybody. So happy you're all here joining us again for another empathy workout. We are culminating this last day of Black History Month, but we don't want to forget, even though it is Black History Month and it is the last day, it's really Black History Year and Black History Life. You know what? I'll take the Black History Millennia. Can I take the epoch? Is the epoch good? I want to go for that one. I'm into that. Yeah, we've got a wonderful, wonderful work out for you today. We're going to start off with Micala. Queen Micala, where's she at?
I'm here.
She's here. Okay. We were able to connect with Micala this month and so grateful. She is founder and co-founder of Justice for LGBTQ+. Also, I was taking some notes. Also co-founder, also fundraising for Black Women Collective. She's doing a lot of things. And I love when people are multifaceted in this way. So everybody give a shout out to Micala. Welcome her. Say hello, holla. How are you?
Hello, everyone.
Yes. We'd love to just get started off with you telling us more about yourself. Let the people know who you are, where you come from.
Yes, absolutely. Loaded question.
Yes.
But my name is Micala Brown. I'm 25. I am born and raised in New York City, in Brooklyn to be exact. And when I turned 16, maybe I should say that I'm born and raised to a Black father and a Danish and Spanish mother. And when I turned 16, we moved to Copenhagen, Denmark, and I was there for 9 years. And I've been back in New York for a year and some change now. Very happy to be back. And one of the driving factors to bringing me back to New York was definitely racism and xenophobia and ignorance that was kind of experienced in Denmark. I was questioning myself and trying to figure out where I belonged in regards to culture, heritage, why do I look the way that I do? People were asking constantly, where are you from? Where are you from? Where are you from? Even though I spoke the language fluently. So I was on a journey, a personal journey, trying to figure out who I was. And I came to the conclusion that, all my life I've kind of had this emptiness inside of me and trying to put words on it. I thought it was loneliness, but it turns out that I was actually just being misunderstood. And my journey was to find people that would understand me and understand my experience. And through that journey, I've been so blessed to, co-found Justice for LGBTQ+, which is an organization where we kind of amplify the voices of those who are in the community and in NYC shelters, because there is a lot of violence perpetuated towards the community. And so we do protests weekly. We usually do every Monday. We have been kind of pushing it around a little bit because of the weather, snowstorms and whatnot that have been coming down. But yeah, so to amplify those voices, to create a safe space, to create some community, and to also just push the message that we need to have safe spaces, especially for LGBTQ+ individuals, to people that don't really know that. So what we do is we protest up in Harlem, where, in contrast to kind of a lot of the other organizations pushing these issues, they protest in the East Village or the West Village, which sometimes can be sort of an echo chamber because a lot of liberal people live there. It is, the West Village is a notoriously queer community. And so, just getting the message out to people that maybe don't know it or haven't heard it yet. And I also do fundraising and event coordination for the Black Women's Collective, which I'm really, really excited to be a part of. It's a wonderful collective that creates a safe space for Black women, period. It is an honor to be working with them. And right now, we actually have an initiative where we are working on supplying homeless people with, safety equipment, sanitary products, hand warmers, just the basic essentials that kind of help them get through this winter. That's a little bit about me and what I'm doing on this. Yeah.
think that is beautiful and it's amazing. And I think, you know, it's so important to be able to create these safe spaces. I think that's a lot of something I've been noticing a lot. There we go. Something I've been noticing a lot. The concept of safe spaces. Right. And what that means. And I realize it has a different meaning for a lot of people. I've been finding my own terms and own ways of what that means for me, and physically, emotionally, intellectually. So I guess, you know, I'd like to ask you, what would you consider a safe space for yourself? And right. Then maybe if you can expand on it in terms of safe spaces for LGBTQ plus, especially when it comes to things like shelters. Like, what would it mean to have a safe space in a shelter, et cetera?
Right. Absolutely. So a safe space for me in particular would be somewhere where I feel understood, honestly. Like I just really appreciate the people that I have in my life where I can share an experience, and maybe they haven't experienced the exact same thing, but my feelings are valid, you know? I'm able to share how I feel, why I feel that way, how I'm dealing with this, and have the support and most of all, respect of the person that I'm talking to. For me, I think respect is a great quality to have. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people forget to respect other people and in regards to kind of the experiences that we all go through, the way that we maneuver through life, just being able to respect someone else and say, hey, like, I hear you and you're valid. Like everything that you're saying is valid because that's the way that you are experiencing the world. That's a safe space for me. And it's, mm-hmm. and I guess it's more of a mental or like a way that people receive me. Mm-hmm. And I think the safe space for, especially, for the LGBTQ plus individuals is both a physically safe space, like actually having a shelter where they can sleep at night, you know, without being scared of being sexually assaulted or just having violence perpetuated against them. Also, what was it I wanted to say? I wanted to say that for LGBTQ plus individuals, it's also really important to have someone that you can talk to. You know, the same thing that I'm saying about myself, being able to be respected and heard. That's super, super important because a lot of us don't have that with our blood family. You know, we have to have that with our chosen family. So we have to surround ourselves with people who accept us for who we are, period.
I definitely hear that. Definitely agree with that on all fronts. When you're in these like spaces or when you're dealing with people and trying to get them to be involved in the work that you're doing, I know that's not easy. Some people don't know how to be involved or what to do or how to go about it. So I've been thinking about this question too. What are your three, I guess, three things that you can suggest, verbs? I think the more we give people action-oriented things to be involved with, the more likely they're willing to do things. What are your three verbs that you would incite from people to partake in, to start being involved, to feel more involvement in what's going on so that they can feel like they are able to do something?
Right. I guess, kind of putting me on the spot with three verbs, but I think definitely just taking action in general is really just an important step. And that can be kind of understood in many different ways. It's a very, very personal journey, I think. I would definitely say talk to someone, you know, open your mouth, have a conversation. If you see someone on the platform that you have, if it's Instagram, Facebook, Zoom meetings, whatever it may be, reach out to them. You know, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, because I think that a lot of people, I have especially, felt lonely in the situation. Sometimes I felt like, you know, how do I even get started? Where do I start? How do I help people? How do I help myself? And just, reaching out and not hesitating and being able to say, help, you know, I need help starting. I don't know where to kind of like get my footing. Help me out.
I got your three verbs: reach, talk, and ask.
There we go. You got it. Perfect.
I have one more question for you. Okay, so you come from both of your parents from different backgrounds. Right. You were living in New York, Brooklyn. What's up? Went to Denmark, and then what was your experience, or maybe I don't want to say worse, but maybe something that really moved you into this sort of work? Tailored, specific experience.
Yeah, that is a great question. And to be honest, I think that my specific experience was kind of a culmination, of course, of all of the passive aggressive, just ignorance I had experienced in Denmark, especially microaggressions. Yeah, just like I said before, this idea of like, where are you from? Just because I'm not white passing, or sitting in a bar having a drink by myself and someone coming up to me and speaking English. Wow. Assuming that like I don't speak the language, and I'm like, I literally speak Danish fluently. Like, right. I'm paying taxes, I'm working, I'm doing everything that you're doing in this society. Like, why would you meet me as another, as I don't know. It was just
as other.
It was beyond me. I was like, I would never ever approach someone in that way and assume, make assumptions. It's like, yeah. But anyway, at the time, I had a partner. I was actually engaged, and I was engaged to a Danish man, and he was white. And I was having difficulty kind of explaining, or not explaining to him. I could explain it to him clearly, but he was having difficulty understanding why I so desperately wanted to leave that country. And it was a huge, it's obviously a huge step to move to another country.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. And he would be on that journey with me, and he had a difficult time understanding. He had a really difficult time understanding. And I think for me, that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, I am in love with a man who doesn't understand me and will never understand me. And is that something that I'm willing to accept? Right.
Can you feel eternally safe there?
Right. And that's the thing. And I had a complete breakdown, honestly. And I was sitting with my mother, and I was like, who's white? And trying to explain to her as well. And I felt so lonely. Because I didn't have anyone saying, I hear you, and genuinely could hear what I was saying.
Right.
And so during that, I spent some time in my room alone, upset, and it dawned on me. I was like, wait, I'm not lonely. I'm misunderstood.
Yeah.
Like, people don't understand. And because I'm surrounding myself with people, or because I'm in, a country where a lot of people can't understand my experience, can't, what's it called? What's that word?
Identify,
yes. And so that was it for me. And I was like, I need to do something. I need to speak up, because if I'm feeling this way, I know I'm not the only one,
right.
And I don't want to have other brothers and sisters like sitting like this, and being devastated and feeling lonely or misunderstood or whatever it may be. Like, I want to be able to reach out my hand and feel someone reaching back and grabbing on and just helping guide someone through their own personal journey. Because we're all going through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's a lot.
We're all looking for ways to connect. And, I think there's something so special about the idea of connecting and picking your family, Right. I've been also very lucky enough to find people around me, because I also went through something very similar at an earlier part of my life, where I was confronted with that same sentiment of, hey, you might have a Black child with me. I mean, you're going to have one with me. are you prepared for what that entails, what that comes with, the conversations that you're going to have with your own family, with my family, with your friends. And, you know, you start to realize just how ready people are not.
Yeah, that's so
to
true.
handle these sort of things. So, you know, truly commend you for taking a step away from, you know, someone you loved, truly, to love yourself more. Kudos to you, because that's not easy. I'm gonna ask you one more question. What would you have to say to a young brother and sister who is in your space right now, who is feeling that sense of loneliness, who is looking for their family? What advice would you give them?
I honestly, truly just want to say that, like, you're not alone. You know, that we are here, and take this moment, especially with the world recognizing our struggle, you know, or giving us a little bit more representation, giving us a little bit of time, you know, giving us like $1. Like, take this time to really push forward and find out who you are and where your place is, because this is the time to do it. Honestly, I think that, like, the world is changing, hopefully for the better. It's changing. It's going a little slow, if you ask me. You know, I'd like it to go a little faster, and I would have loved if it happened before, or didn't happen at all. You know what I mean? That we could all just coexist and be who we are. But, you know, that's, I don't know, a very utopian like thought, I guess. But yeah, seriously, just like, you're not alone. I think that is the most important thing. You're not alone. And this is the time to find your chosen family and to find the people that are there for you and will support you. Because we're here. We're here.
Yeah. Excellent. Let us know, how can we reach out to you? How can we find and support LGBTQ plus, justice for LGBTQ plus? Let us know. Talk to us about it last time.
Absolutely. My shameless plug.
Yeah, shameless plug.
So you can find the organizations that I work with on Instagram at Justice for LGBTQ plus NYC. No, sorry, no plus. Justice for LGBTQ NYC. There. And the Black Women Collective is literally at the Black Women Collective. And if you want to reach out to me personally, you are more than welcome to do so. My handle is at Mika Freak, MICA Freak, because you know Mika she Freak. A freak. And yeah, like, honestly, don't hesitate to reach out if you need help, you know, organizing, if you need help finding out about yourself. I don't know, ask questions. Like, I'm here. Feel like this is what I'm made to do. You know, I got you. So let me know.
Micala, thank you so much. You are a blessing to this community. Truly feel invigorated by the work you're doing, and truly grateful for you conversing with us today and communing with us. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Sorry, I think I was muted. My bad. We'll go grounding exercise. We're going to get into it right off the heels of Micala. Again, thank you so much. You know, we're in a space and time where we are all looking for support and for community. And what Micala was saying about all of us feeling alone, I know I have felt that from time to time. And I've had a strong community of people kind of moving me through that, because it is something you do have to move through. It's not something you can get away from. So what I would like for everyone to do right now, you know, go on mute, put your hands on your heart, close your eyes, and just take a deep breath with me. Let's take a few deep breaths at your own pace. And I want you to just think to yourself. You don't even have to say it. Just let the sound of the words in your body ruminate, the thought of the words. And I want you to say to yourself, I am here. I am not alone. I have a community of humans that I can reach out to. I have spaces where I belong. But most importantly, the space I belong to is within me. The space that I have and that I will occupy with all of my strength will always and forever start within me. No matter where I go, no matter who I confront, no matter who I join forces with, what's inside of me and that light that shines is bigger and brighter than any light I have ever encountered. Just keep breathing and remember that you will always be for you. And when you are for you, people will see that and feel that and will find you and will join you and will be glad to be standing next to you in community, in trust, in safety. You are always safe. You are always safe. You are always safe. And just take a few deep breaths. Just allow yourself to permeate with those thoughts and those feelings. You are always for you, and we are always here for you. And with that, you can open your eyes. Thank you for letting me ground. Thank you for grounding with me. We're going to move right along into our next portion. Is that Megan Lee Joy?
Sid, that was so yummy.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, thank you. Well, hi, you guys. My name is Megan Lee Joy. I am a positivity producer and the producer of Empathy Workouts. So today we get to jump into our original gameplay, the OG of gameplays. And so let's go over the rules real quick. We'll be playing the Curiosity Edition, the white box that I don't have in front of me. Yes, I do, for those of you that own it. And we will need 3 volunteers to start. So if you can figure out the hand raise tool when the slides are up, please raise your hand. You can go to reactions on the bottom of Zoom and click the little smiley face and then click raise hand. And if it is not there, it should be under the participants. So if you click participants, see everyone, list of names, at the very bottom there should be a tool to raise your hand. And so once 3 people are chosen, I will speak the question. You each get to answer vulnerably, and then we will take a poll and get to decide if we go up a level or not, which I invite that we should each time. All right, you guys. Who are my participants? 3 people. Oh, we got Dewey, awesome. Carissa, beautiful. Unmas. All right, Veronica. Beautiful. All right. Let's see. I wish I could share blank with humankind. When you feel ready to answer, please unmute yourself and share with us.
I guess I can go first. So the first thing that came to mind was basically generally like a perspective or an attitude, like that I think that it would be beneficial if most people understood, which I think that probably all of you in this thing understand, but just kind of that you control your own view of everything. You control your attitude towards things, and just having a positive attitude towards certain things or not feeling woe is me would just help a lot of people to kind of come out of their headspace that's keeping them sad or just like not being as happy as they possibly could be. So yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that.
That's beautiful. Thank you. All right, who wants to jump in next?
I think what I would share if I could would be the collective potential if we could all work together positively and disregard some of the surface things about us and realize how much incredible stuff we could do when we work together for the right reasons.
Absolutely, that would be a dream.
I wish I could share that authentic connection with humankind, which I feel is right now is a struggle, which is why I show up here and actually not even in with the current conditions. I think even before that and in general, it's hard to say, "Hi, how are you?" and you don't even hear it and you just answer fine. It's nice to actually have real conversations with people.
We're here for it. All right, you guys, thank you so much for sharing. And now we all get to vote on if we go up a level or we stay. Let's bring this up. So we were on the blue level, and if we go up a level, it will be green.
I seriously love this polling, by the way. It's so hot.
So hot right now. All right, we're feeling the green level. And we will need 3 more participants. Oh, it's getting pretty close. Oh no. Okay, I'm officially closing the polls. We are going up to the green level. We need 3 new participants. All right, Donna. Thank you. Dos más. Green's not that scary. Oh yeah, Michael and Sid. Okay, what will the universe choose for us? All right. What is the difference between appreciation and appropriation? Think about it, feel into it, and when you feel ready, speak what's on your heart.
Okay. Appreciation and yeah, Veronica, sometimes I don't know either because I don't want to be evil or like an asshole and like misappropriate and stuff. So this is a hard question for me. I grew up appreciating a lot of different cultures grew up, one culture specifically, because I can speak to that one, is Punjabi culture, Desi culture. I grew up wearing like saris and listening to like Bollywood music and classical Indian music, because that's just a part of like my heritage. And sometimes I would wonder growing up, see, I'm getting nervous. I would wonder if, because is the way that I connect to it, and because I'm not technically Desi or Punjabi, am I allowed to do it? I think the difference for me in terms of appropriating and appreciation, having that experience, is knowing that I'm not trying to steal it to make a buck. I'm not trying to take it to, for some sort of like financial gain. I'm not trying to like bastardize it. And it's not even about emulating anything. It's just about enjoying the culture as it is and allowing people to bring me into it. I think also because I was brought more into it, that it gave me more room to have more appreciation. I don't walk around with bindi on my head all the time, like that's for religious purposes. And that's also, you put that on during a certain time, during certain times of, of the year for certain celebrations. I think the more you can understand the culture and the more you can truly understand the workings of why things are, the less you're appropriating. Yeah, the less financial gain, more I'm trying to be here for the people. Okay.
I love that, Sid. That's very similar to where I fell, where you have to have the education to have the appreciation. Yeah, that supported me a lot. Thank you.
Well, now I'm going to be very vulnerable here, because I think I had to really think about that word appropriation and what it may mean in what context. And I confess I kind of looked up something here to educate myself so I could really, give a deeper meaning. And I think, but what my heart went to first when I heard the question was, I think appreciation for me, more and more, appreciation is it's getting in the same swim lane as empathy. Because I think true appreciation, and when I use that word, and I don't use it lightly, like if I use it in an email back to someone, what I mean is that I can put myself in your shoes and think about what it took for the time, the talent, whatever it took for you to do something. And I can imagine that, and I feel so honored by it. And I'm so grateful for it. There's a connection there. And appropriation seems more superficial, perhaps. Maybe I don't know, there could be that connection. But I'm wondering, is it really, because if you're truly connected, do you need to appropriate? Maybe, I don't know. If it is about who you are, and it's a self-expression of who you are, and it's a true connection, then I say, great, go for it. So maybe appropriation is more on the personal level of your identity, and appreciation's more the connection also. For me, no rights or wrong here, right? And I love this question because you've made me really think about this, and I want to explore it some more.
I love it. So many things coming up for us. That's great. I immediately thought of Coachella, which I think is the first thing anyone thinks of when you hear appropriation, because it is that superficial connection for, I'm just going to say, style. And I think maybe people think that it's a accurate representation of their soul, but they're not doing the education. And this is me blanket statementing and judging, but like this is my experience of certain people. But I love what you said about if it is an authentic expression of you and you've done the education and you feel connected and it truly represents you, I can't argue with that. I mean, that's you being authentic. So, but it has that respect. I think that's for me. I love that you said that. Oh, so many things. Thank you, Donna.
I guess it's my turn. So first of all, I realize I'm not often on the other side of these questions. And so I had a lot of fear come up even just preparing to answer. I feel really connected to both Sid and Donna's answer. And I think often when I answer this question, I don't slow down and actually like feel into my body. And I actually answer it on a superficial level, in which almost as though I get a pass um, for like the difficulty of talking about appreciation and appropriation because I'm Black. But as I slow down into it and like the gratitude I have for Micala sharing and the work that she's doing to support the LGBTQ plus community and even I guess a few of the themes that we've explored this Black History Month and then for Valentine's Day is just really pushing myself to find the areas where I am a little blind or where I am privileged or where I am a little more safe than others, where I don't push myself to do that more, especially as we try to advocate and model vulnerability. So when I think of appreciation versus appropriation, I think of like slowing down and being really conscious about the dynamics that are at play. Who's safe, or even as I'm entering a situation or a discussion, like what's my intent, and am I really showing up as vulnerable as I can be and to learn, or am I hiding behind my own disadvantage that I too have work to do. So I think showing up in a shallow way to conversations around topics that maybe show my privilege, I think that for me falls into the appropriation realm if I'm pushing myself.
That's beautiful, Michael. I love that insight. I can personally use it in all aspects of my life. Where am I showing up superficially, and where do I get to be more present? Thank you. Real quick, I want to read some of what's been happening in the chat because it's amazing. Dewey said, appreciating means respecting that it belongs to someone else. Appropriation means acting like you own it. And Carolyn's saying that she resonates with Sid and also feels like you have to listen to the community of the culture you're appreciating or appropriating. If the folks call you out for the way you appreciate, there's probably something to it. Again, back to the respect. Yes, and Lorraine saying appropriation can come if certain aspects of a cultural becomes trendy. Chrissy saying about what Sid said, potentially having an element of taking something for financial gain. Absolutely. Beautiful. What do we have, Veronica? I'm just seeing yours. As a first-generation Canadian, it's hard to identify with your Filipino ex-culture because of colorism within the community, because you were born in North America and have a disconnect. Grew up in a time when your immigrant family thought it was safer and you'd have more opportunity to assimilate as much as possible. Absolutely. Oh, so interesting. So you often feel like you're appropriating your own culture. Thank you for sharing that. All right, you guys, this is a juicy Sunday. Really enjoying it. Okay, we're moving spotlights and we're bringing polls up. Let's get next level. All right, we can go down a level back to blue. We can stay at green, or we can go up to yellow. The poll is launched. Ooh, the battle continues. All right. It's looking like we're staying at green. Okay, that's what it is. So we need 2 more volunteers. Ooh, that was like the closest poll we've ever had. 3 volunteers. I'm not in it. 3 whole volunteers. You guys can do it. All right, qualms. Yes. Okay, add spotlight qualms. Laura, got you. Lorraine, got you. Okay, let's see if I took that question out. Bam. Okay. Ooh. What cultural or moral value do you hold in high regard and why? Take a moment, feel into it. Maybe think about like the second or third thing you want to share.
So I'm unmuted. I'm gonna go with the first thing I wanted to share.
Great.
Because I guess I've been thinking about this a lot. I'm doing like a story circle later, so I've been thinking. I'm really connected to this idea of music, particularly R&B music, and like from the 60s and the 70s and Motown music, because I'm originally from Baltimore. I'm living in New York, but growing up, and I guess I don't know if it's a thing just for Baltimore, but like growing up, music was played a lot in my household. And like the women that I connect with, like my aunt and that I'm really closest to, and my mother, like they would play, music from the 60s and that kind of Motown style and that kind of stuff. And it feels like, and I connect to it to a deeper level than like, I like a lot of different music styles, but I connect to it because it just, whenever I hear that music, and I also was around a lot of like older adults who are now probably in their 50s and 60s, I just feel so taken. Like there's just this connection, this feeling I can't really describe it, and I just feel so comfortable. And so, and I was thinking these last few days, will I leave New York and go to Connecticut and places, and I started thinking like, where would I get the things that I need? Like, what music could I listen to? Where are the queer clubs? It's like they're just things, and like music just like makes me feel so at home, and I so connect to it and that kind of sound of music, and I feel like it makes me just really connect to a Black identity or that I have. And I kind of refute this notion when sometimes people say, well, Black culture is this. I was like, no, there's been so many cultures of Blackness. And it's wonderful. And just like, I don't know, art, like classic R&B music just makes me feel just so like at home. And so, yeah, I just really connect to it. And I guess I never thought about it that way, but like when I need like to decompress from like a bad day, like I'm listening to a particular WBLS because I like the music that's playing. And I was born in the 80s, like the late 80s. So it's not even music of, but it's like, I'm just so like, it just makes me, I don't know, feel so at home, and it grounds me and like in ways that other styles of art and music does not. And I think I've talked a lot, but thank you.
Lorraine, I love that. Just as a reminder with how powerful music is in general, but the fact that we absolutely can connect it to different cultural values and points in our life to really support us. Thanks. All right, who's next?
It's interesting, the kind of segueing from Lorraine, what you shared. One of the things that I grew up with was kind of prayer and music being part of my like cultural upbringing in a language that I didn't speak or understand. So there's kind of a mixed relationship with wanting to, like, there's this, cultural value of like, my heritage of Judaism, of the traditions and the melodies and the songs that were sung and shared, and that kind of connection to, the past and history and ancestors and traditions and things and values that, the goal is to embody and bring forward. But then finding myself like really questioning the meaning of something that I couldn't understand, and how that could be something I could truly participate in. And so I think for me that kind of sparked, and I think this is probably also an important value that I was able to kind of glean both from my own experience and learning from those around me, was like the idea of questioning and the idea of debate, and or the cultural experience and value of debate, and the role of asking questions in carrying forth any like, value or tradition.
That's beautiful, Laura. Thank you for sharing your experience. That aligns directly with a comment in the chat that said music was the oral tradition 2.0. Mm-hmm. I love that vibe. Thank you for sharing that, Dewey, in the chat. Qualms.
So when I first read the question, the first thing that came to me was respect. But more specifically, I feel like respect for family. And when I say respect, I guess it's more so a family, the understanding and appreciation for a family unit. I saw my grandparents, well, they lived in the US, but eventually when they wanted to die, I grew up in Ghana. When they got really old, they came back home, kind of wanted to die where they were born. And I didn't understand why like they would want to do that or what that connection was. But growing up, I realized, coming from a country like Ghana, how important a family unit is, and how there's no place like home. And coming to the US, I watched a movie on Netflix recently. I Care a Lot. It was about this woman, this lady that had a scam. Megan, I think you've seen that movie.
I just watched it.
But it's a good movie. It's a good movie. But it really highlighted how the elderly people here are treated, and how like there's a lack of concern for the greater family unit within the US. And within the world in general, I guess. People are more self-centered than grand-centered, but we're not islands. We're all part of a greater unit, the family unit. So I think that's something I like to share, something I hold important, the family unit.
That's beautiful, Qualms. Thank you. The respect and the family unit and holding it together even through old age. I agree. It's something the culture of the United States could do a lot better. Beautiful. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to ask Michael if we have time for one more round or if we should go into announcements and then like a happy hour.
Yeah, just announcements and close out.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
let's do it.
Wonderful leadership, Megan Joy.
All
Everyone,
right.
Megan Joy, a round of applause. Taking the reins on the empathy workout section for the first time. So we're just going to close out with a few quick announcements. Feel so grateful and blessed to be supported by Megan Lee Joy and Synead and Micala today, and by all the people who are taking a bit more of their time and effort to share their gifts, their passion with the family unit, the larger family unit, as Qualms so eloquently alluded to. So we're going to continue on with these empathy workouts throughout the year. We have, I shared an article recently. I would love if you checked it out. It's actually a bit of a poetic prose on just a message to those who are on the front lines using a bit more of their effort and their energy and holding space for people. I wanted to give a shout out and just make sure that they feel seen and that they're thinking about their well-being. As we close out Black History Month, it's been a theme we've had to return to as we've put a little bit more extra effort around raising awareness. We've had to find those moments where we just had to find those ways to take care of ourselves. And that's so important. Next week, we'll be joined by Christy Adams, who is actually the chaplain at my boarding school, which was my first experience ever heading into white America, leaving Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. And she's there some almost 2 decades later as a really amazing leader. And she just actually got elevated to the head of DE&I, but she's also an accomplished author. She has a book out currently called Parable of the Brown Girl. And next week and very soon she'll be releasing a book about the next generation of Gen Z Black and brown leaders, female leaders who are on the front lines of making change. So I'm really excited to invite her. And finally, want to remind you all that we're still gathering pledge signees for the We Claim 1% pledge, which is our movement to get 1% of the population pledging to spread empathy and advocating for human rights. Through this pledge, this is where we send out information about our future trainings, where we send out information about mini missions that you can get behind to, that won't take very much of you to help spread empathy. And with that, brings us to our intention for the week, which is I give gratitude for my privileges as I fight for the safety of all humanity. And what this speaks to is, well, first, filling your cup. We need to give thanks for what we have and the access we have and the blessings that we have every day, even having the time and the internet connection to show up here to strengthen our empathy muscles. That's a small one. Waking up every day with our health and strength. But we talk a lot about safety, and part of safety is when we have the capacity, making sure we're using that to help advocate for those who are a bit less safe than we are. And if we all approach every day with that mindset, then perhaps we can tip the scales here for a more compassionate and empathetic world that we all believe is possible. And that brings us to our close this week. As we normally do. Oh, it's almost 3 o'clock. Look at that timing. We're gonna hang back for about 10 minutes and take questions, to play a few happy hour questions, and I can get to know you all, and we all can, and obviously we didn't get to do a Q&A with Micala. So if there are any questions for her as well, she's still here. I can't see full screen. Yeah. But otherwise, see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Well, let's see. I'll pull a question. Can we put some tunes on?
Yeah.
Oh man, the first card I pulled, I'll just take it because I'm in that like whatever vulnerable mood, but I'm gonna look for Megan Lee Joy to throw on some tunes. We all have at least one go-to dance move. Show us yours. I'll take that bullet.
All right, reopening Spotify because it was being sassy.
I'm like, I don't even have a go-to move anymore. All I do is hang out in my apartment and journal and then dance around like crazy and get energy out. But
that can be a move.
But I guess there's usually something like this, unless it's a little more upbeat, you know, just kind of like vibing, like nice vibes. I had that reggae song on this morning that set my day off proper. Who was it that said music? She hopped off, but music as a value. I love that.
Lorraine. All right. Can you guys hear this?
That's the time you fight.
Yeah.
That's the time that you should try and
a little loud.
And try again. And then it's like when you get
anybody else want it?
That tried didn't work out.
All right. You could download all the cumulative knowledge of one person. Who would it be?
At least I tried,
How about you, Veronica? Nope.
That's a hard one. Just one?
Yeah, more than one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna flip the script on that. I honestly don't believe one person has all the knowledge. I learn from people even I don't want to learn to, and it's just like that cumulative knowledge of everybody. I want it all. I'm greedy.
Who would I go with? I want to say someone different than I normally do. I always say like Bill Gates.
What was the cue?
What was that?
What was the question?
If you could download all the cumulative knowledge of one person, who would it be?
I think I might have an answer.
Audre Lorde or Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison.
Those are good too. I was gonna say like my grandma.
Yeah, I would also say like someone really late in their life who's lived kind of, I don't want any type of like millionaire. I want someone who's lived in the same town their whole life, but interacted with a bunch of different people and just like knows the answer. No, just knows like people, maybe.
Some wise person, like they have so much life experience that
they just take it all in.
Yeah, for sure.
I start thinking about people like Gandhi and Nelson Mandela, learning about just the hardships that Nelson Mandela went through, but then being able to still try to unify a country and not get stuck in revenge, but how to move on. I just think that takes such leadership and emotional intelligence that I would love to learn from.
I just want a wonderful journey.
I will say that, okay, I changed my answer because I'm hearing all these answers. So if I were to pick someone like a Buddha or a Gandhi or anyone that seems up here, I would actually want to learn from them, not just their cumulative knowledge, but I feel like I would also want to learn because they're human, and I feel like we tend to idolize them or put them on a pedestal. But I would actually, for me, it would be more valuable to learn how they deal with, how they came to that learning, because obviously that comes through difficulty or struggle.
Yeah, when Carissa was sharing, I was thinking about like being in Italy and seeing this like older guy on the road every morning, super early in the morning, just waiting. I don't know what he was waiting for. I was like, he seems so wise and so patient. Hope that wasn't appropriating, was it? No. Anyway, all right. All right, next question. We're not doing that question. All right, that's a good one. If you could close your eyes and transport yourself anywhere at this moment, where would you go?
I'd go to Trinidad, Toco, which is like in the country. It's like, I think is it the northern portion of Trinidad? I believe it's the northeast. But it's my great grandmother's house. It used to be a shack, but now the family's built it up and now it's a grandiose mansion. And I haven't been there yet, so I want to go. But yeah, I just like to be up by my great grandmother by the beach because it's a walk away from the house. You can see the water from her house, from the veranda. And I haven't seen my great grandmother since not even last summer, I think the summer before that. So I want to go to Trinidad. And Carnival's right now too, so I know it would be wild if it was actually happening, but it's not.
Okay, the first thing that comes to mind is this most epic waterfall in like surrounded by the most green, lush, beautiful forest, almost like jungle forest. And this waterfall is just the perfect waterfall. And it's refreshingly cold, but not so cold that you can't get in it. And you can swim in the beautiful pool and like climb a little bit and go behind the waterfall. Yeah.
As you were sharing that, I guess I've just been slowing down and listening to everybody's stories and going on a journey in my mind. But when you were talking about your grandma's spot, it made me start thinking about where my dad's from in Jamaica. And I went there with him when I was less than 10. So that was a long, long time ago. But I remember he must have been in his early 40s, because actually I'm the same age he was when he had me, which is 37, which we deduced the other day. But we did this thing that was probably like the most vulnerable moment I've ever witnessed with my dad. It was a bunch of like Tennant men, all of these like kind of brown skinned dudes up in the mountain who like, we went on this walk down to the like, it was like green everywhere, but down to this like creek that had a waterfall as well, Megan Lee Joy. And we all just like, we all went and like bathed naked together, which I had never done. I don't even remember doing that really with my dad ever before, but it was like 10 Tennant men. And there were like shrimp swimming in the water too, I remember. And I didn't know how to swim, so I was a little bit afraid. Yeah, that'd be kind of nice to go back there. I don't think my dad could handle the walk now though.
That's really cool. Like, I think I think I want to strive for that now. Getting a group of Nichols women to just bathe naked in the water. I think it's hot. I'm into that. Thanks.
All right, y'all. Well, I think that's a wrap for this week. Take all that warm energy that we just nurtured here and carry it into the week. See y'all soon.